Almost everybody knows about the capture of the Venezuelan president by the U.S.
The breaking news this morning, President Trump says the U.S. carried out large-scale strikes on Venezuela overnight. He says its president, Nicolas Maduro, and his wife, Celia Flores, have been captured and flown out of the country. Attorney General Pam Bondi says both of them have been indicted, and in a social media post says that they will, quote, soon face the full wrath of American justice. The Venezuelan vice president says that she has no idea where Maduro and the First Lady are.
There's no equipment like what we have, and you see that even if you just look at the boats. You know, we've knocked out 97% of the drugs coming in by sea. 90%. Each boat kills on average, 25,000 people. We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we're going to have our very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in, spend billions of dollars, ready to stage a second and much larger attack if we need to do so. So we were prepared to do a second wave.
There's a lot of talk about why America is giving all this interest to all these other countries. Now, this isn't the first time that America has had interest in other countries, with Greenland and then Canada being the 51st state. Now, also, we just heard that Trump is talking about Cuba, India, and Mexico.
Cuba is ready to fall, and India also is falling. Mexico has to get their act together. We need Greenland.
The question isn't whether people agree with what America is doing or want their country to be taken over by America, but the precedent that this sets in the whole global landscape, and also what this has to do with Bible prophecy. Now, before we answer this, we have to go back to 509 BC. This is when the Roman Republic was founded, and this lasted until 31 BC. This is when Augustus Caesar pronounced himself as the first emperor of Rome. This started the expansionism of Rome, going to the Mediterranean, North Africa, Asia Minor, and other areas. And then, at 538 AD, this is when Rome became a church-state structure with the decree of Justinian saying that the Pope was the head of all churches and the corrector of heretics. So this landscape here, this flow of events, is going to give us a key to understanding why America is doing what they're doing today. It started as a republic. Then it went to an empire, and finally, a theocracy. This pattern here and this flow of the government is very fascinating. We have a clue in Revelation chapter 13. In Revelation 13 and verse 11, it says, "And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon." This beast here, if we cross-reference that word beast to Daniel 7, verse 16 and 17, we find something very fascinating. In verse 16, "I came near one of them that stood by and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me and made me know the interpretation of the things." Because we know that these beasts are symbols in the Bible, and we need the interpretation. And we don't want man's opinion, we want the Bible and God's opinion, what these things are trying to tell us. Verse 17, "These great beasts, which are four kings, which shall arise out of the earth." Now, if we jump down to verse 23, it says, "Thus he said, the 4th beast shall be the 4th kingdom upon the earth." So what are we finding here? When we look at Revelation chapter 13, we see this beast, and it has 2 horns. Okay? And that word beast, we cross-referenced back to Daniel 7, verse 17. And that word beast is very important because we've seen that a beast equals a kingdom. This kingdom being talked about in Revelation 13, and we're going to add verse 11 here. And we have a whole series on this, America's Prophetic Destiny. If you haven't seen that, take a look at that, and it explains very clearly from the Bible that this beast is none other than the United States of America. Now, what else does the Bible have to say about this beast, this kingdom, America, and what is it going to do? We'll continue in verse 12. And he exerciseth all the power. How much is all? That means everything. Of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. So we have a couple important points that we need to take note of. Number one, this beast, it's going to speak like a dragon. Now that dragon that is being referenced here, we need to go back to Revelation 12 to find out who this dragon is. In verse 3, and there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his head. Now, from the surrounding context, we can see what time period, because this is when Jesus is alive on earth. This is when he's being born. So what beast, dragon, could this represent? Well, there's only one kingdom that was ruling when Jesus was alive, and that was Rome. And the Bible said that the U.S. will speak like Rome, the dragon. Let me read to you a quote from the Great Controversy. Thus, while the dragon primarily represents Satan, it is in a secondary sense a symbol of pagan Rome. In chapter 13, verse 1 to 10, is described another beast, like unto a leopard, to which the dragon gave his power and his seat and great authority. This symbol, as most Protestants have believed, represents the papacy, which succeeded to the power and seat and authority once possessed by the ancient Roman Empire. Now, there was another point mentioned in Revelation 13, but verse 12. The next point is it's going to have all the power of the first beast, which according to all the reformers, this beast represented the papacy. So we have a succession of kingdoms here. We have Rome, we have papal Rome, and then we have America. And it describes that the U.S. is going to speak like Rome and have all the power of the papacy. So look at this. Rome began as a republic. America began as a republic. Then it became an empire. It started its expansionist journey, and we see America doing the same thing. They're talking about all the areas that they want to control. It'll become an empire. And then the Bible is telling us that America is going to become a church-state structure. It will be a theocracy. Now, let me show you more verses to prove this. Reading again, verse 12, it says, and causeth the earth, that is the whole world, not just America. It's going to cause. That means they're not just going to fall in line. It is going to make them with its power that it has, and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast. America is going to cause the earth to worship. So we have a playbook here. And just the start of this playbook is shown in Revelation 13. We have even more hints in Revelation 17. Now, we don't have time to go into that in today's video, but so far what we're seeing is we have the Republic. We have them speaking like a dragon. They're going to enforce all the power of the first beast, which was the papacy. These were both global powers. They controlled the world. So if it's going to have all the power, it's going to have all the control that these kingdoms did before it. They also were church-state structures. So America will become a church-state structure. And we see this happening very prominently in America today. The next thing that Rome and the papacy is a persecuting power. And it talks about that in Revelation 12 and 13. America is going to follow suit. Because once you have a theocracy and you're enforcing religion, what are you going to do to those who don't agree with what you're saying? And it will become the next persecuting power. It is the new Rome. It is the American papacy. Now, this might seem crazy to a lot of people, and to other people, maybe they see it. Oh, we see, yes, America is doing these moves like it is doing in Venezuela, like it is doing to Greenland, Canada, all these different countries around the world. We need to get in the Word, we need to understand it. So when we go to Revelation 17, there is a lot more clues about the flow of events and what America is going to do in the very near future.